What's up, y'all? Sparta here, and I want to I I want to do a This isn't a versus video by any means, but I want to talk about if the LG G4 is still a viable option today. And if you guys have been watching my channel for the past month or so, I've been using the G4 for a lot of my recording and stuff like that. Mainly because it's still a great phone to use for that kind of content. And if you see it's super cropped in right now, it's because I'm recording in ever so glorious 4K. So this is more of a test. This isn't like a for sure thing. And I'm using the V20 to do it. So let me know how this looks. Let me know the quality. I can't do it in 60 frames per second. Obviously, it's going to stay at 30, but I'm just letting you guys know here. So the LG G4 came out in 2015. The era of which the Snapdragon 810 totally marred HTC and LG. LG with the LG G Flex 2, HTC with the HTC One M9. So what happened later that year? LG came out with the LG G4. And what did they do? They used the Snapdragon 808 processor, a hexa-core processor, hexa-core 6-core. And I believe it had the Adreno 530 GPU, I think, or 520, I don't remember. It has 3 gigabytes of RAM. It has a Quad HD IPS LCD quantum display, 5.5 inches. And don't mind the cracks and whatnot that happened when I gave this phone to my dad. 8 megapixel camera, so if you want to take glorious selfies, you can do so. And the main selling point of this phone was it had an f1.8 aperture, which at the time in 2015 was the highest aperture that a phone had. The phones that came later out that year, the Galaxy Note 5 and the S6 Edge Plus, God, that's a mouthful, had a f1.9 aperture, I believe. While the V10, the LG V10 and the G4 both had f1.8 apertures. Now, one of the selling points of this phone was that it had a f1.8 aperture, 16 megapixel camera with laser autofocus, something that LG pretty much made a thing since the G3. And another thing they had was a full manual mode. You know, a lot of phones have pro modes and stuff like that, but LG went all out and pretty much has a lot of features on their, camera app. As you guys can see, there's a histogram there. There's how white your white balance is. It's a bit blue right now for whatever fucking reason. You change that and it'll look more natural, or you can crank it all the way to red and it can look fucking red. So you can have those super sexy saturated photos that Samsung tends to want to have. Sorry, Hangouts. You could do manual focus so that if you want, you could take super detailed, high quality photos. You could, adjust your shutter speed. So if you want to take super cool night shots where you can get the streaks off of car lights, you can do that. And the ISO works with that. Works pretty much the same. ISO brightens or lowers the brightness as well, but the shutter speed is what mainly helps with that. If you want to take those streaking car light shots above highways, freeways, and stuff like that. And yeah, the V10 came out and it had the manual video mode. It had the hi-fi DAC, not quad DAC, that came in the V20. It was pretty much a G4 It was a rugged G4, but it was more power user. Like, God damn these niggas, man. But, so, a lot of reviews came out and pretty much praised the GeForce camera for being pretty much the best in class at the time. And I would like to agree with that quite a bit, because it's still a great camera right now. And if you do that, and if you like stuff like that, if you like to take Instagram photos and stuff like that, this camera can do no wrong for you. Now, another thing that I really tested very heavily is gaming. So I have a few games loaded up on here: Wayward Souls, Elder Scrolls Legends. These two games aren't really demanding, nor is Pac-Man 256. But one that I've tested quite a bit and that doesn't really have any like disadvantages being on this phone is Power Rangers Legacy Wars. And it loads basically as fast as it does on my G6 or my V20 or even my Shield. And there really is no qualms using this phone when it comes to playing this game. It only really depends on how good your internet connection is, if you have Wi-Fi or if you're using data. And there's no like drop frames, there's no stuttering while playing this game. This game isn't the most demanding, but it's the game that's demanding enough where I can warrant using it as a benchmark. Yeah, I have a whole girl team, but yeah, of course she was gonna fucking do that. I fucking guarded, bitch. Of course that's a block breaker. Because what isn't a block breaker when it comes to fighting? Fuck. This shit's pissing me off. I'm not really paying attention. But as you guys can see, there's really no like drop frames. This is going to fuck my score. I could already tell. Yeah, whatever. But as you guys can see, it loads fast, it plays fast. The only game that I really had problems with is like, Sonic Dash, the first Sonic Dash. Because it's just very stuttery. It's probably because it's not very well optimized. But yeah, battery life is still great. I probably got to put a new battery in here because this battery's been in here for over 2 years. But battery life is still great. Still great. Keep that in mind. My G4 came with a brown leather back, but I got a black leather back because it looks classy and it matches the front of the phone well. But I'm not going to make this a very long video. Speaker quality is still great. Good enough, despite it being a backfiring speaker. Headphone quality is not going to beat your V20 or your, HTC U11 or HTC 10 or even the G6 for that matter, but it's still comparable if you want that. If you want better audio, though, I'd say go with, Bluetooth. That'll probably service you better on the G4. But as far as, that goes, bezels aren't very thick. Obviously they're thicker than, the G6. But they're not so terrible to the point of, they're ugly. This phone is still classy, it's curved, it feels great. Obviously, if you get a better, if you get a better, what I'm trying to say, quality G4 that's used than mine, obviously you're going to have a great experience using this phone. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel, despite it having plastic sides and everything, it doesn't feel cheap. But it's still a great phone. And I just wanted to make this video to say that the G4 is still a great phone. Say if you want a backup phone, it's still a great phone to use. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This is Sparta. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for the support. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this. Like, say, with like any type of Windows phones or Sony phones or anything like that, I might go to older phones like from 2015 or even older and do videos to see if they still stand the test of time. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for the support. Hope you guys have a good I'm tired. Good rest of your day. Have a good one.